This is a great gathering we're having. And last year I had the opportunity to speak, and a lot has changed in the past year. It's actually kind of amazing. So what I'm going to do is go over some of the things real quick that I said last year, and then I wrote a little article that I'm going to use what's happening right now. So this is last year. The peace and anti-war movements are at our lowest point of energy since the initial invasion of Afghanistan. However, the national consciousness about the wars and occupations and the need to end them is much higher. So we have good, solid platform to continue our work. In a conversation I had with Bob Wing, co-founder of United for Peace and Justice, he pointed out to me that there is no longer a center of power to the left of President Obama. At least that is what I heard in his comment. I think he is right, and that it helps to explain the current political change facing the peace and the anti-war movements and mobilizing allies in the wider social and economic justice movements to resist the current wars and occupations. Of course, the economy it pushed people down, and people were feeling discomfort about the economic position, etc. Additionally, after 8 years of struggling merely to defend the status quo, many organizations and people in the economic and social justice struggles are now engaging with Congress and the administration in order to move forward their individual issues, pushing the war to a second or third tier on their agendas. Make no mistake, the wars and occupations are still of great concern to people, but home comes first. This in many ways frees the U.S. government to conduct foreign policy as it chooses. As a result, to many it appears that the progressive left, and in particular the peace and anti-war movements, have lost momentum. Most of the peace and anti-war movement allies are in the Obama orbit. That was then. The movement of allies' attention from the wars and occupations has disempowered the peace and anti-war movement, thereby empowering Obama, making his movement the strongest grouping on the left. The only place economic and social justice advocates had relative organized collective power was around the war. In my estimation, they have disempowered themselves by engaging with the administration piecemeal instead of using the war as a lead to push through their reforms. Because we are weak today, now this was in the past, does not mean that we are no longer needed. Sometime in the near future, as it becomes clear that the Obama administration will not bring the full change sought by the economic and social justice advocates, they will turn to build a new progressive power in Essex to pull elected officials more consistently to the left. The fact that economic and social justice struggles are connected to peace and anti-war, our continued resistance to the war policies, and our efforts to make visible these connections and build coalitions provide fertile political space for the emergence of a new left configuration. So Obama's not doing the things people expected. A people's movement must emerge to force change. The 2010 U.S. Social Forum in Detroit brought together thousands of grassroots activists across a wide spectrum of struggles. And it was a unique opportunity for activists to step outside their lanes and cross-fertilize, beginning the process of visioning strategies to shape a common future. A direct example of struggles stepping outside of their lanes to build people's movement will be October 2nd, and people have talked about that, so I won't say more about that, except there is a plank in it that demands for resources being moved from wars to human needs. And a lot of us are pushing for us to expand that platform so that it says more. Now what? What should the anti-war movement and peace movement do to forward our goals? We must continue to do many of the same things we have always done. We must keep the wars visible. With so few U.S. Americans bearing the direct burden of the wars and soldiers fighting them are almost invisible, out of sight, out of mind. Not feeling and seeing the costs confront them in their living rooms, kitchens, and bedrooms, it is easy for people to believe the wars are proceeding well and rationalize them as necessary. Vigils, protests of all sizes, direct action, and demanding redress from all levels of government are essential. With people focused on immediate challenges to find a job, save their home, and make ends meet, the importance of our efforts to keep the wars in the public eye is greater than ever. After their disappointing issue-by-issue efforts to engage government, our allies, sensing the need to unite, are ready to hit the streets again, but this time around domestic issues with jobs at the forefront. We must join together to build a people's movement, but this time the war will not be the center of the organizing efforts. We will not be in the lead. Nevertheless, our focus on war and U.S. imperialism is central to our domestic problems. We must provide relevant and timely information to our allies about the huge waste of money, material, human resources on war that should be invested in people. We must do a better job of turning our rhetoric of connecting domestic economic issues to war issues into common strategy and action with our domestic allies. This means we must listen and find ways to be in support of economic and other struggles with our message. But perhaps the most important task is to envision and model a better world, a better way to solve conflicts, and a more sustainable way to live. This includes how we interact and relate with each other as individuals, as philosophical and political rivals in our movements, and yes, even to warmongers and our detractors. Gandhi said, "Be the change you want to see in the world." I got like 4 more lines. "Be the change you want to see in the world." And A.J. Muste said, "There is no way to peace. Peace is the way." Both speak directly to the process needed to end wars and find peace. And guess what? We have total control of this approach to change. We need no one to join or agree with us. It is an individual challenge and journey. It is the toughest, most relevant, and rewarding action to take. I will see you in the streets and on the road of peace. Thank you.